to our continuing coverage. New details tonight on the arrest of a Colorado Springs police officer facing a felony charge of stalking.
Now, the arrest affidavit states Officer Stephanie Landreneau was using her exclusive access as a police officer to stalk her estranged husband, also a Springs cop. News 5's Natalie Chuck live in studio with what experts say this means for our community. Natalie?
Rob, this is the second time in less than 2 months a CSPD officer has been arrested. Both are accused of committing felonies. The circumstances deal with officers' intimate relationships. I spoke with one expert, a former El Paso County Sheriff's commander, who told me the community should not jump to conclusions and allow due process to take its course. Two officers from the same police department, now on the opposite side of the legal system. Most recently, Colorado Springs police officer Stephanie Landreneau facing a felony charge for stalking.
We hold police officers to a higher standard.
The arrest affidavit says Landreneau was using CSPD software to track her husband's whereabouts. He is also a CSPD officer, but the two work opposite shifts and at different divisions. The document says Landreneau hacked into her husband's body camera and found out he was having an affair with another CSPD officer because the two were having a conversation, quote, sexual in nature over the phone, which his camera recorded.
I mean, there's not a profession that's immune to trouble. I think what we need to do is, again, look at what it is. It's an allegation. Let the investigation work its way, and then let's see what happens from that.
John San Augustine is a retired commander of investigations for the El Paso County Sheriff's Office and now does consulting for police procedures.
The badge is a very powerful, you're empowered to do things that no one else can do, right? You're empowered to make arrests, to enforce laws. And so what we want to make sure is that we don't have any bad eggs going out and enforcing things that they shouldn't be enforcing.
CSPD says officers go through a very extensive vetting process, including background checks and psychological testing. But officers are still a part of the community and will be held accountable for wrongdoing. They say notifying the public of an officer's arrest is part of their transparency effort, and there will be an internal investigation happening.
Kudos to Chief Esquez, right? I mean, it's really easy to maybe ignore it and maybe not bring attention to it.
Even though it wasn't long ago when protests against police brutality and corruption swept the nation, San Augustine wants to remind the community that in America, you are innocent until proven guilty.
With the temperature of what's going on in our country right now, I think it's very easy for us to go guilty, 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 right? Because we've seen things that have happened across the country where law enforcement officials were guilty of their crimes. But I think, for right now, we've got to wait and see what happens.
Landreneau's bond was set at $6,000 today, and the judge, who called this a case of domestic violence, says she will be required to comply with any mental health services requested. She is scheduled to be back in court on May 11th. Diane.